Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Coach Prime, the Colorado Buffaloes continuing to try to make moves in the transfer portal. And, although the commitments have not come in just yet, I think if you're a Colorado fan, they're coming in pretty soon. One of the things we always talk about when Coach Prime gets these kids on campus, it's rare to see them leave campus not committing to Colorado. And you start taking a look at the names that are going to be on campus over the next couple of days and weeks. I think there's a lot to be excited about. I think headlined by one of my favorite prospects in the 2024 class, Caleb Odom, who started his career at Alabama. Now in the transfer portal, I think the big news here, obviously former high school teammates with Julian Lewis, that 2023 high school season, they tore it up together. And I mean, what better way to help Julian Lewis get kind of acquitted in the college football landscape than giving him his number one pass catcher from the high school ranks? And Caleb Odom, just extremely talented pass catcher that we're going to get into. Excited to, before we do, as always, Colorado fans, I say this all the time. This is a very exciting next couple of weeks for this program. A lot of y'all been rocking with the boys going back 12 months ago as we covered this program in the portal. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. Without further ado, there's just more and more names that are kind of bubbling to the top that Colorado are big players in. Let's start with Caleb Odom. Now, you look at Caleb and say an unproven commodity in the college football landscape. That does not mean this kid cannot play. And I kind of go back to what Will Sheppard brought to this Colorado offense in 2024 as that bigger bodied boundary wide receiver. I look at Caleb Odom and say that's the kind of role that he can play. At the end of the day, this kid is just a matchup nightmare. A lot of people thought he was going to play tight end at the collegiate level. I think he's just too athletic to make him an inline tight end. You want this kid in space. You want him working on smaller defensive backs. 6'5", 230. Movement skills are incredible for the size. I'm not even opposed to making him a tight end, but I want to make sure you're kind of featuring him in a passing attack. We talked about it with Will Sheppard last year. One of the things that in 2023, it felt like Colorado was missing. They were really good wide receivers, right? Jimmy Horn, Xavier Weaver, and Travis Hunter. It felt like they were missing that bigger bodied boundary wide receiver that works vertically down the field. Will Sheppard gave that to them in 2024. I think you're trying to replace a guy like Will Sheppard. Caleb Odom could be that kind of guy. And then again, the second conversation is the familiarity and chemistry that he has with quarterback Julian Lewis. What better way to allow Julian Lewis to get more comfortable at the college football landscape than giving him a big body pass catcher that he's very familiar with distributing the football to? This one makes a lot of sense. It is a type of wide receiver, type of pass catcher that I think Colorado is interested in, especially with Will Sheppard moving on to the NFL draft. And you have some other names. I think Amarian Miller is another one of those guys that I know going down with the injury in 2024, but that kid's got a bright future. You're seeing Colorado build some serious depth, not only at certain positions, but this whole roster is just getting deeper with that competitive depth. And I think that's really the next step you want to see Colorado take going into 2025. We want to continue to be a deeper team. They were much deeper in 2024 than they were in 2023. I think they're going to take another step in that direction going into 2025. Another pass catcher that the Colorado fans who were rocking with the boys before that portal even opened, and we were talking about some names that Colorado should look at. We talked about Eric Rivers. He hits the transfer portal. You kind of knew Colorado would be a player for him. That's exactly what we're seeing. If you're Eric Rivers, he balled out in the G5 in South Florida. You saw Xavier Weaver. You saw Jimmy Horn. You saw LeJontay Wester, all South Florida G5 guys that went to Boulder, Colorado, had a ton of success. If you're Eric Rivers, you kind of want to follow in those footsteps. And this one makes a ton of sense. And what I love about Eric Rivers is he's a multi-dimensional kind of guy. He can win vertically down the field. He averaged over 18 yards per catch in 2024, but he's also one of those guys that short intermediate route tree, getting the football in his hands and being dangerous. That's also part of his game. And so he brings a multi-dimensional pass catcher to this Colorado offense, and you're looking to replace guys like LeJontay Wester, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn, guys that were electric with the football in their hands. I think Eric Rivers can be that kind of guy for Colorado in the 2025 season. This one makes a lot of sense. You're able to get Caleb Odom as that big body boundary wide receiver, and then bringing a guy like Eric Rivers. There's a lot of optimism in terms of what that pass catcher room can be in 2025. And that's kind of been the blueprint for Colorado, like playing four wide receivers, really testing if defenses have enough athletes to defend our athletes in space. Eric Rivers would be a massive asset to this Colorado offense. And, one of the positions that I think Coach Prime is just going to continue to work on is that pipeline on the offensive line. Now, what's intriguing about some of the targets that have emerged for Colorado here, some youth. You look at Carter Miller, started as a redshirt freshman at James Madison, then transfers to Louisiana Monroe, starts again. He's got 2 years of eligibility. Colorado wants that young offensive line pipeline. You saw them kind of get going with it with guys like Zach Owens last year. Carter Miller, kind of the same. What I love about Carter Miller, one, he's been very good as a young offensive lineman. And he gives you some of that center guard versatility. Carter Miller has made starts at guard. He's made starts at center. And when you're trying to build your best five offensive line, having guys that can do a little bit of both certainly means the world. Another guy that I think would just be a dynamite addition, probably my favorite offensive lineman that is currently in the portal, is Jordan White. This is a bona fide plug-and-play guy on the inside of the offensive line, similar to Carter Miller, gives you that position versatility. Started in 2024, started at left guard, and 2023 started at center. Graded out extremely well. He's very good in pass protection, but he's also very good getting to the second level in the run blocking department. And at the end of the day, you look at Colorado and say it might be a younger offensive line. What better way to kind of supplement that young offensive line with a 6-year senior snapping the football? And again, it's kind of building that competitive depth. You look at Hank or Cash Cleveland. Hey, if you want to start for Colorado on the offensive line, you're going to have to earn it because we're going to bring in quality guys. So you're kind of building that 8-9 offensive lineman that you kind of feel comfortable playing. That's how you want it to look if you're Colorado. And that's kind of what Coach Prime's trying to get it to look like. Joshua Bates, another intriguing one. Colorado kid, went to Oklahoma out of high school. Joshua Bates is a less proven commodity than Carter Miller and Jordan White. But he's a guy that you can kind of throw in that offensive line pipeline, continue to build up. Gabriel Lightfoot from Fresno State, a defensive lineman, 1,100 career snaps, played 500 snaps in 2024. There's kind of two types of transfer portal additions that Colorado's trying to make. Some guys like Jordan White and Gabriel Lightfoot who are just proven commodity plug-and-play guys. And then there's some of those young guys like Carter Miller and Joshua Bates where Coach Prime catches so much flack for using the transfer portal, and people are talking about, is that a sustainable model in terms of building this Colorado program? You can kind of use the transfer portal like the high school recruiting trail. When you look at Joshua Bates, he's going to have 3 years of eligibility. You look at Carter Miller, he's going to have 2 years of eligibility. You can build a roster through the transfer portal with guys that, hey, might not come in and play in 2025, but are going to have some years to kind of develop within this Colorado program. And you kind of saw Colorado do that last year. I mean, there are some guys, I think Zach Owens from Clemson is a really good example. I said it when he committed to Colorado. I don't know if he'll start in 2024. I think that was okay with Coach Prime. He has 4 years of eligibility coming in. And so now he's kind of a contender to start in the 2025 season. I think that's what Colorado's trying to do as they use the transfer portal, mixing in some experienced guys like Jordan White going into a 6-year college ball, and then going out and getting guys like Joshua Bates who have 3 years and more of eligibility. We'll see where Colorado decides to go. You kind of know the list is going to continue to grow over the next couple of weeks. Strong emphasis on positions of need, line of scrimmage, replacing some of that production at wide receiver. We'll break down the commitments as they come in. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.